Look, I know in my role here as an independent media type, as a commentator, as an analyzer of the news and the headlines and the behaviors of the press and the behaviors of the fascist administration we're currently suffering under, I know it might get a little old for some of you. Like, all right, we know, the press is missing the moment. But when they miss the moment in moments like this one, it's extra dangerous because people's lives are endangered. When you give space for fascists to act like fascists, you endanger all of us. And Dana Bash, there was a moment yesterday on CNN, actually it might have been this morning on CNN, where she's asking a Democratic congresswoman, what is your message to all the people who are getting violent? And she means protesters. And yeah, there shouldn't be violence. But when the question is only asked about protester behavior and not about the actions of police, you're missing the motherfucking moment, Dana Bash. You're giving space for people. You're framing this in a way that is troubling. That, well, the cops, no question needs to be asked of the cops and how they're behaving. As horses with a mounted rider, a cop tramples protesters in the streets. Multiple horses backing up. It's like running a car over somebody. Dana Bash shouldn't ask about that. Oh, you think I'm just making something up? Well, I'm not. Watch this. And if Dana Bash isn't concerned about mounted police units trampling protesters, maybe she could find it within herself, or maybe she can ask her partner on her show, Jake Tapper, who's still yesterday tweeting about Joe Biden's cognition while horses with police riders are trampling protesters. This fucking ghoul is tweeting about his book and about Joe Biden's mental capacity. Read the room, Jake. Read the room, Dana. If she's not concerned about protesters because, she's a rich white lady, maybe she'll be concerned about her colleagues in the press who are being attacked and assaulted by the police.
The LA County Sheriff's Department did describe the protest in Paramount last night as the situation escalated. The crowd of protesters became increasingly agitated, throwing objects and exhibiting violent behavior toward federal agents and deputy sheriffs. What is your message to people who are getting violent?
It's don't get violent. Those are not the people that are coming out to protest immigration. What we've seen, so let me tell you.
Violent people doing?
Okay, so last night when I talked to the sheriff, he had told me the situation in Paramount was under control, that the people that were peacefully protest have left. The situation was now across the street into the Compton area, and this was the unruly folks, that Saturday night crowd. The people that were there to actually protest immigration were gone. We agree that if you're being violent, you should be arrested, you should be prosecuted. There is no disagreement on that. I think that's an effort that we can all say. But this is not what's happening. We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest.
Yesterday, this is from Sean Beckner Carmichael. I don't know if it's Carmichael or Carmichael. I don't know. Don't know him. This is from Blue Sky. This is a video from him of officials in Los Angeles, whether they be city or county officials, dispersing the press. Get out, media, get out. And let me tell you why first let me play the clip, then I'll tell you why it's dangerous. Watch this. Crickets, Dana Bash, nothing to say about that, Dana Bash. What about the protesters? What about the violence? The reason they do that is because if there's no press there to report, if there's no constitutionally protected members of the media, journalists to report on what they're doing, there's no oversight. Notice there's not on the ground footage of a trampled protester by a horse. It's from a helicopter. They can't disperse that away. But it wasn't just kicking the media out. This is from Abraham Marquez, this footage here. He tweeted this video, where an LA County sheriff, and look, there's a lot of difference between Los Angeles City Police. I'll give them a little bit of latitude because that is not a position like a county sheriff that's elected, that where they have to. Sheriffs are look, I'm not going to get into the entire thing about what's the difference between a chief of police in the city and a sheriff. If you want to go search sheriffs John Oliver and watch his whole HBO bit about it, because it is very, very telling about what the problem is in America with policing, especially related to county sheriffs. But this is the LA County sheriff firing on press, seeing that they are there with a tripod and a camera, reporting on what's taking place, taking aim and firing rounds downrange. Now, they are non-lethal. But do I need to go into all of the people who lost eyes and have traumatic brain injuries because of non-lethal rounds fired downrange from jackbooted armed agents of the state? I hope not.
Shooting at media. You're shooting at media. You're shooting at press. Hey, that's press. That's press.
What do you got to say about that? Any questions that you want to ask about that, Dana Bash? Maybe you should ask your colleague, your Australian colleague from Channel 9, about the officer who drew his weapon, raised it to his shoulder, aimed accurately, and fired a weapon clearly on a journalist with a giant mic with a windscreen on it that has a logo from her news agency, and he fired upon her with knowledge of who she was. Watch this.
After hours of standing off, this situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA.
You just shut the f*** up. You okay?
I'm good.
Are you okay?
Crickets from Dana Bash. She only wants to know, what's your message to people who are getting violent? It's time to pick a side, America. Are you on the side of those who are exercising their freedom of speech, their constitutionally protected right to redress their government? Are you on their side, or are you on the side of the cops who are firing on journalists? And also, let me say this. I already know I'm going to get criticism. Well, you gave us a bunch of clips of the press being attacked. That's not the most important thing. It is not the most important thing. But let me tell you something. If they can do it to the press, what do you think they're going to do to civilians with no voice? If they can do it to people with a camera and a microphone broadcasting to the world, what do you think they're going to do to the college kids and the protesters who are there to exercise their constitutional rights? They will be trampled upon like we started with. And the media is missing the moment. The media should be in lockstep to protect the rights, to broadcast the usurpation of constitutional rights from people, by people who swore an oath to this document that they would do the opposite. That these are the sets of rights that we hold to be sacred in this country. So sacred that we set it in rule of law that it will be protected. The Constitution doesn't provide these rights, it protects these rights, these natural rights. And it's crickets from the peanut gallery of journalists on NBC and corporate media. They can't even find it within themselves to be loyal to their own fellow journalists. So if they can't be loyal to themselves, don't trip all over yourselves trying to think that they're going to be standing in the gap for you. It is time to pick a side. You're either on the side of liberty or you're on the side of tyranny. And if you're making a bunch of excuses for jackbooted, armed agents of the state who see it as their role to oppress the participation in democratic, peaceful protests, of course, you get people together, shit happens. Bad shit happens. Bad actors do bad shit. They're always going to. But if that's all you focus on is a couple of burning cars and not on the widespread oppression of individuals who are only there to stand in the gap for their community, you're not looking at this right. You're just not. Anyway, I'll leave it there. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me as always, daily@dollemore.com. I want to hear from you. Please consider supporting the work. If you find what I do valuable for you, if there's something that you appreciate about the coverage that I provide, the analysis that I provide, the commentary that I provide, $2 a month, you can become a channel member, or you can go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. I'd appreciate it very much. Your support goes a long way toward growing this operation and disseminating the truth. I'll see you next time. I appreciate you very much. Be genuine. Take care of one another.